Hey everybody, it's Elena, your co-host of Countercurrents. You'll notice there's a voice missing today. That's because Petey is off doing comedy someplace, and it's his loss, really. But we're happy for him. Anyway, I'm here with a full house today, the full Arlington show lineup for the weekend. Please welcome our host, Noah Crowley.
Hello, hello.
Please welcome our feature, Mary Radzinski.
Hey there.
And our headliner, Sarah Colonna.
Hey. Hi.
How have the shows been going, guys?
They're great.
Good. Really good. Yeah. They're super fun crowds.
Sarah's crowds are great.
I heard you guys had a very fun night last night. I'm getting right into it.
Yeah. Well, I left, I think, before. Like, I left around 1 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, you only missed about an hour, but it was a pivotal hour.
Right.
You know, it was like the witching hour.
Yeah,
Things
usually with nights out, the later each hour goes, the more eventful they are.
Yeah.
True.
I mean, what were your... I mean, Noah, you were...
I mean, I feel like you made it to karaoke, and that was kind of the high water mark of the night. So,
But nobody did karaoke in our group.
I know.
So
What?
it's kind of just the point. It's like all we did was see strangers do karaoke, which is
I
like,
know.
I basically do that when I watch The Voice.
No, exactly. Yeah.
That's fair.
We would have crushed to do
So
it.
I know. It was a cute, yeah. I think we talked about it for a second. And
We
then it
did.
went away.
Well, Pete was kind of taking on a speed round bar crawl
Yeah.
where it's like one and done.
He was he wanted us to see all the spots that
Gotcha.
this belt line
Yeah,
has to
on
all-
Columbia Pike.
Yes, that's the word, not belt line. Pike.
But Pike,
to offer.
Beltway, it's all belt
It's all the
line.
same.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wanted us to see them all.
See all the-
we
all
hit
the-
like 3 bars within like 30 minutes.
very, very
Yeah.
quick.
Make sure you guys had a real look
Yeah.
at this part
Into
of
the
Virginia.
bowels.
Yeah.
So we know what goes on.
So
yeah.
here's my question though: if you had done karaoke, what are your karaoke songs? Like, what are your go-tos?
I don't really do karaoke because I have a really terrible voice.
Same.
But that makes karaoke so much better.
Yeah, but I I used to work at this bar where we had karaoke for a minute because like when bars start failing, they basically get karaoke.
Oh, is that
to
really
have like
is that
a
what
night?
it is?
Yeah. I've worked at plenty
Karaoke-
of bars where like
or
it's-
comedy.
like everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they're like, let's do a comedy night.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, we're about to close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was a bar that I worked in, and so nobody was coming to the bar, nor were they coming to our karaoke. So just the other bartender and I would sing, "Turn the Page," which is a very
Wow.
it's long.
Emotional.
It's it's emotional and it's
Yeah.
long, and when you have a bad voice, it's just like it just sounds like you're singing for like a fucking hour.
Who's the artiste? I'm not
Bob
familiar.
Seger?
Oh.
Yeah, is
Shame
it-
on me. Okay, all right.
there's
Yeah.
a Metallica cover too, but
Oh,
it's
see,
pretty
that's
trash.
where I was
Is
thinking.
there-
I'd like
a
to pretend
Metallica
that's the
cover?
one I was
Wow.
doing, but it wasn't.
That's what people thought.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you have, cause I also have a horrible singing voice. Like the more emotional, the more song like that you do, the funnier it is. Because you have to go funny,
Right,
If
right.
you can't sing well,
Yeah, you
because
can't try to
if
pull
not,
something
you
out.
can't
Yeah.
try to be like, oh, I'll try to do something easy with a lot of auto tune. It's still going to be terrible. You got to go bad karaoke, right?
Well, I think because I honestly have never really done karaoke because I cannot be in the situation where someone is taking it seriously and I'm feeling personal embarrassment for them. Like I just can't do it. I can't. It's like
I'd like to
watching-
see you sing karaoke. I feel like it would be really.
so you
entertaining.
don't have like a go-to karaoke song just in case.
I don't. No, I don't. I can't. I would have with Sarah. Maybe like a I don't know. I'd throw me into like a Mary J. Blige "Real Love" or I was
there you
doing
go.
some serious bar seat dancing last night though,
You were.
and you
wow.
pointed it out a couple times.
because I don't see it a lot. From
Well,
you.
I'll
You're
tell
usually
ya.
pretty still.
It's true. Well, we're usually like knee deep in double Tito's and club talking about. I don't know. My boyfriend was there, so we were. I don't know. It was
She was
fun.
dancing,
Noah.
yeah.
Yeah, I had some slick moves. So
yeah.
makes up for the lack of singing.
What about you, Noah? Do you have a go-to karaoke song?
In a bar setting, it's Friends in Low Places, just because everybody will sing along.
That's fair, and that's a good way to cover up if your non-skills.
yeah.
That's really
No,
smart,
you're
actually.
Strategic.
You're not
Yeah.
supposed to be good at singing the song, but
Yeah.
I like the private room karaoke a lot more, where it's just you and all your friends.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
sing
There's a place in Adams Morgan that's really fun.
Musette
for that.
and rock and roll.
Yeah. Musette, that's the one.
Yeah,
That's the one
private
I would say.
room. I like the Killers just because you can be hella dramatic the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That's it. So you're cool with having Or do you have a good karaoke voice, but you're
Oh,
cool
no,
with
terrible.
having a bad karaoke voice as long as it's in front of people you know,
Yeah, if it's
instead of people you don't know.
if it's your dumb friends, then you know that they can't sing either. You're just shouting songs you remember from your youth in front of
That's
other
true.
people. You just feel like, oh no, there's like someone who's like probably like auditioned for like singing somewhere, didn't quite make it. Now they're taking out on you.
Yeah. But at least I feel like if you do it in front of people you don't know, like you don't have to face them all the time, right? If you're
Right.
doing it in front of your friends, like they'll never forget,
Yeah, but it's
right?
fine. I think.
I didn't sing in front of my own self by myself for the first 30 years of my life. Like only recently in the car have I really been given a try because one day I was literally like, wait a second, what if this baritone? Like, what if I am like a really great singer, but I
And
don't
you just
know?
never knew because you never let it.
But
fly.
I tested and I'm not.
But do you like the release of singing in your car though?
Yes, I found that singing in my car also helps me stay awake on long drives. That is a
Yes.
key sort of like life hack. So
I feel sad that you never let yourself sing out loud before.
Yeah,
I know.
It's kind of like a sad story.
It really
Mary finds her voice like a little children's book I want to write.
turns out it was always there.
Sarah, do you have a song that you sing along to in your car? Is there like a particular one? Like,
I mean, right now I'll scream any Lizzo song like at the top of my lungs.
I'm with you. I
went to see her in concert. I
2
saw
days
her
in a
2 nights
row
in
you went.
It was
Wow.
amazing. It was amazing. It was amazing.
I've heard.
Did I
I've heard
say?
she sold out here in like 1
Yeah.
second. Because she was. I think she was in a theater that was too small for her at this point.
Yeah, well, it's in LA. She did the same thing. Like she was in it was booked before. I think that
Yeah.
latest music award show that she was on. I forgot which
Right.
one it was, but so it was like she probably should have done even a bigger venue because
Right.
it was a small. But it was amazing.
How was it back to back? Were they like
Oh,
yeah.
like totally different? Or
I mean,
well, she's gonna do her in Maine.
yeah, that's it. I mean, I envy that about singers because they just get to sing their
know,
songs.
right?
Like
Yeah.
stand up, we have to actually write new jokes, but like
know,
you could
right?
just sing your songs.
Wait, you write new stuff? Because I don't. I need to start doing that anyway.
Well, it was so good, and but I find that when I am at a concert, I love to do the Instagram, like an Instagram story,
Right.
And every day, every single time, the next morning, I'll like watch it back, thinking I can't wait to see the video of Lizzo that I loved so much, and it's just me screaming, singing in the background. I feel just, and like there's no way anyone enjoyed it. Like they just skipped it there because it's like, oh, I wanted to hear Lizzo instead. I heard Sarah screaming at the top of her lungs.
Well, the plus side is I feel like most people end up watching stories without sound anyway.
True.
So,
yeah.
so at least they're like, wow, pretty cool
At
that
least
she was at the
for
Lizzo
sure
show.
mine. Yeah.
At least that's what I tell people with mine anyway. But you talk about how you're jealous of singers, how you can just write one song versus
I mean, they
Not-
probably get sick of it, but audiences don't,
right. How often are you writing new stuff at this point? Because you're like going around touring an hour. How
Yeah.
much of that hour is new, or do you work on that before you tour it, or what's your writing
Right
process?
now, a lot of it's new, but I write. The trick is I write from stage. Like I have to
Right.
work it out verbally. I can't sit down and write stand up. Like it just doesn't work for me.
Right.
So it's hard because you want to work it out, but you want to make sure people see a good show. So it's almost
Right.
like you're weaving in new stuff as you go, kind of.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, hopefully, you have by the end of the tour, you have a good new amount.
You have a good new hour. So you're
Yeah.
doing it. So like tonight, how much of what you did is new?
A lot of it, like probably like 75% was new for me.
Wow.
I would
for
say
here.
even just, and I mean, I'm obsessed with Sarah and always have been, but just having worked with you for a while, like this is, I'd say even more 70, 80. I mean, it's a lot new. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
just
I mean-
compared to even last
Yeah,
year.
no,
Yeah.
so I mean, it's just hard, but I mean, it's just part of it. It's just a hard.
And
thing
you
to
said
do.
compared. Are you doing a new hour every year?
No, I mean, I don't know that I keep track that well as far as
Because
that
some people
goes.
do that, and I find that the most.
Yeah.
How?
No, I
like-
just want to make sure when I go back to a place, they're seeing
right.
at least half of it's new. If
Right.
you're, but I haven't been here in 2 years, so I would hope that almost all of
That
it was.
pretty much
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
And then I think there is that too, though, a little bit where it's like the joke, like free bird, where it's like some jokes. It's like as comics,
Yeah.
we put the pressure on ourselves like, oh God, I don't want to do the same thing. But then I think there are actually like some people and
wanna
like
hear
true fans of
certain
yours
things.
that want to hear certain, so
Yeah.
it's
Well,
sort
some
of,
people go out, and I've seen tour specials that people have already seen, and people specifically go to watch the jokes that they saw in the special
oh yeah, true,
already, that
true.
they'll like tour it afterwards.
Right,
right.
Which I find amazing. that that
Yeah,
happens.
because a lot of times people like once their special comes out, they don't want to do that material
yeah,
anymore.
yeah. That's like when you throw everything away.
Yeah, just crazy.
Well, even like, what is the role? Because then it's a lot of people say like, oh, if you did it in a special, or you would if you did a a late night spot or whatever, like what's still. But then I don't know if you guys like follow Gary Goldman on Twitter and like his Twitter rules and stuff. And I mean, he's been doing a lot of those jokes, but expanding on them for like a decade.
Right,
So
right.
it's like really, I guess it just depends
Yeah,
on
it's like the person and what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing comedy now?
Really long time.
Your face. I feel like you like I asked how old you are. Like
That's what it feels like.
No, she's like tonight.
Yeah.
Then it was an hour.
yeah.
I don't. I mean, I guess like off and on for like 15 years.
Wow. And what
Meaning
year
like
do you
there
feel
were
like
times where I wasn't pursuing it as hard, but
right?
doing open mic, like from start to finish. I mean, maybe it's even been 20, really.
Right. And
Yeah.
at what year did you think you sort of found your voice or found your comfort zone more on stage?
Probably not until like I was in my mid 30s. So, because I think first time I ever probably got on stage, I was 25.
Right.
And like I said, like just kind of like figuring it out and doing open mics and here and there and whatever. But like I feel like even though I think it was fun, I was funny, whatever.
Right.
But I feel like I was doing like not as comfortable telling like real stories about myself
Right.
until I got into my 30s, and then I was like, oh wait, that's what works. Like you can, because it's original when you
Yeah.
talk about. I mean, even though it may be a topic that's talked about, if it's your own story.
Yeah, and people
It's
can relate to
original.
it more. Yeah, I think that's I feel that too, because I didn't start doing comedy till I was 30. And I was doing acting for a bunch before that. And I was mad at myself once I started at 30 because I was like, I should have started doing this before because I like this so much better than acting and all the stuff I was doing before that. But at the same time, I feel like if I'd started in my 20s, I would have had so much less to say.
Yeah, you just kind of, it's more just, basic. I don't know, just something doesn't have a lot. I mean, they can be funny, but it doesn't have a
Right.
lot of oomph behind it, at least for me personally. I
Right.
mean, there's probably some 20-year-olds.
Real deep,
telling
23-year-olds.
Yeah, there's some
real-
telling us
yeah,
good
some
jokes
real,
out there.
real deep, real woke.
Yeah, yeah.
20-year-olds. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think I would have been that person. And where did you start?
In LA, which is like a weird place to start.
That's a
stand-up.
hard place
Yeah.
to start. I can't imagine because I lived in LA before I started stand up, and then moved here and started once I moved here. But I can't imagine. And looking back, I'm like, how does one start stand up comedy in Los Angeles?
Yeah, I just think that I didn't know any better, so it was like ignorance is bliss. Sort of, I was like, this is just how it is. But then when I talk to people in like actual comedy cities,
yeah.
with the community, I'm like, oh,
That's how it's
no, I definitely had like I met a lot of good people and like had a good community and people that I
Right.
saw all the time and like still see all the time. So, and a lot of them are, hugely successful now, which is awesome. So it's like you do get to come up with people, but it's just a weird place to start.
Yeah, it's a lot of driving, I imagine, right?
Yeah, and doing, I did stand up one time in a Starbucks. It was
Oh wow.
not pleasant.
They allow that? I didn't
No,
even.
well, I don't think so. I honestly don't even think they knew we were like this woman.
We called it
booked
spoken
it.
word, and they
Yeah.
were fine with it.
Yeah.
This
Somebody
woman that
just
was
stood
booking
up.
it, like she didn't even show up, and then
Wow.
and then someone had like a microphone they just plugged into a wall, and I think I mean literally nobody was there to see it, nobody wanted it. It was
They just thought it was like Starbucks. Was like, I guess it's some sort of corporate meeting.
yeah, probably
Yeah.
They
For the
definitely didn't
Wi-Fi.
want- yeah, it was not good.
And how did you guys meet?
We met in Philly
Yeah.
at Helium,
Yeah,
the
I was headlining
club
there.
there. She was headlining, and I was hosting at the time, and just fell madly in love.
That was it.
And
It
it
was
was
just-
magic. And I will say, it's a little stalkery, but at the time when I saw that Sarah Colonna was coming to Philly, it was the first time that you were coming. Is that your first time at Helium in
I
Philly?
think so, yeah.
First time since I had started stand-up, and I asked the manager, I'm like, can I please host that week? Because I just really,
And we
like,
fell in
yeah.
love.
And then we fell in love. And
Yeah.
she's been the best.
Romantic.
Do you still live in Philly?
I do, yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. They have a good comedy scene in Philly, too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's grown a good bit in the last 10 years or so. But yeah, we've got like the 2 A rooms now, I suppose you call them. But like, well, because Punchline's there now too.
Right.
But then we have good comedy theater, and there's some really nice, like, cool independent shows that, funny enough, because the proximity of Philly and New York, we actually have like a lot of Philly comics go to New York to do shows, but we
Right.
get a lot of New York comics coming in to do some shows too.
Right.
So it's sort of a neat, small, little incestuous pool.
Yeah, we're lucky, and we have a lot of that same
Yeah,
stuff, too.
yeah.
Yeah. Just we're kind of like the comedy belt.
Right,
We're like
right.
the East Coast comedy belt a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, you guys. You didn't have to do it in Los Angeles.
What a fucking nightmare.
So what moment do you feel like things started to change for you? Like, I feel like, I feel like we always, as you go through your career, you can't necessarily say like, oh, this thing really changed it or this thing really changed it. But around what years, or were there events that you felt like your career really started to pick up
Oh no,
steam?
I can for sure say, because it was Chelsea Lately. Like, we had that was a show that highlighted comics, and it brought there's nothing like that now, and I wish there was, because it's
Right.
like there was 3 comics a night. She had a loyal fan base, so then they became your fan base, and they were like it. I mean, Joe Coy, there's just like a ton of people that
Right.
on that show that like are now you see everywhere. So it's like the regulars. It definitely made a difference, because it was like the only place where you could go on, tell your own jokes,
Right.
have your own voice. I was a writer on it too, so I actually also got to write for her.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
a great job.
So it was like I got to write for her, and exercise that muscle, I guess, and then also do my own jokes, and then those fans have.
And then she would take you
not
and
gone
you
anywhere.
tour and stuff. too,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
some
When
of
she
you
would
guys.
tour, writers like would tour with her and open for her, and which meant for
Right.
her it was like, because it was just the two of you as the theater, so it was like you get to do basically a headliner set, and then
Right.
she'd come out, so you do like 45 minutes.
Oh, really? She would have all you guys do that long? That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Yeah, because it's like she wanted the show to be a couple hours, right?
Right.
For people, so it's like you do your 45 minutes, and then she come out and do an hour and 15 or whatever. And
Wow.
that was it. So
That's so cool.
really
That's
got
so
to
cool. And
yeah.
how'd you get that? Did you just know her from comedy beforehand, or?
I did. Yes, I definitely knew her from before, but they were like, she couldn't really, like, when it first started, she couldn't really do anything for the people that she knew. It wasn't
Right.
like she could hire her friends. So they had a guy, Michael Cox, who Mary has met, who would go to clubs, and he was the booker. Like, he would go to clubs and book people from that and suggest. So between the two of them, would get you booked. And then I wasn't on it for like the first year and a half or so, and then when she was able to definitely help and get me on, it was sort of like up to me to do a good job, and then I did, luckily, and then they ended up after about 6 months of doing the round table, they ended up offering me a writing job.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And then from there, you could it probably
It
domino
just definitely
effected.
it just definitely helped. Like, I think a lot of comics, like, it just helped, because you can do the Tonight Show and do a quick set, but there's nothing
Right.
like doing a nightly show.
Right.
Yeah.
And, not that Chelsea was that long ago, but how do you think the come up in comedy has changed since?
I don't know. I wish there was something like that now,
Yeah.
Because it was like, there's so many people that benefited hugely from it, between not because they were already talented. It was just, they needed that spotlight, I mean, a Whitney Cummings was, like, really from that show.
Right.
She was already obviously a badass comic and working and stuff, but it's just the things like that, like the constant
Catapulted.
seeing her
And
like,
the exposure.
yeah,
and-
the exposure,
yeah.
getting to know her better and stuff, like all the, there's a bunch of people like that. Like, for some reason, I can't name any of them right now, but there's a bunch. I'm sure any people listening that used to watch it would know. But yeah, I think I just wish there was something like that now.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the version of it now is all internet stuff.
Yeah, internet. And I think podcasting too. Like,
Yeah.
I've heard now, like, if you do an episode of Joe Rogan's podcast, I mean, that's an extreme example, you get 10 times more of a following than you would if you do 5 minutes on Fallon
Yeah.
or something like that.
Oh yeah, that sort of cross. That's interesting. I buy it. I buy
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
definitely
versus and
podcasts.
like late
Yeah.
night doesn't have the same power that it used to.
Right.
It's also so much longer that you get a real idea of who someone is. Like in a
Right.
5-minute set, it's just those are a couple jokes. Who
Right.
cares? If you listen to someone for an hour, you're like, oh, I actually like this guy. I can stick around for this.
Right.
Yeah,
Like that
definitely
human
podcasting
appeal.
is a big. Yeah.
Right, but at the same time, you don't know how funny that person. I mean, you kind of do in a podcast, but you don't get the same idea of like what kind of. Well, that picked up a lot on the on here too.
That was my stomach. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There was a door creaking open. Everybody, it
Did
sound
it?
like
Door
on here. It
noises.
sounds like really. It sounded very, very Halloween-esque.
Well, the best part was I couldn't
Maybe we're all gonna get
I
murdered.
couldn't
Yeah.
see who it was. They had a knife. No, I
Yeah.
couldn't see who it was, but I just heard, I'm sorry. So I don't know.
That happens a lot when we do this because it's between shows, so people order food and stuff, and so
Yeah,
they'll come
yeah.
in with the food, and they'll be like, "Oh, oops."
Yeah.
But usually, I'm not the one with the headphones on, and this time it was like, "Whoa!" It sounds like a Halloween sound effect that we had in the
you had a
background.
trickle of blood coming down your ear right
I
now.
was like, "Oh, jeez." So I was doing my research before the podcast, and then I heard you tell jokes about it. But you're married to a football player.
Yeah.
How much anxiety does that cause?
It's a
at
lot.
all?
Yeah. Yeah, it's stressful. Like watching him play. I don't think I've ever really thoroughly enjoyed a game. Like it's
Right.
always like a big knot in my stomach.
Right.
But wine helps.
Yeah, it must.
Yeah.
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 Booze helps.
Yeah, it
through that.
must.
I always feel bad for him because like oh God, especially like when he played. He played for Seattle for 10 years. So, and I would, we'd have a game. Like if he had a game at 1:00 on a Sunday, which was usually when they were, it was. Poor guy would want to go. Like it's been his week. Like he's worked, and now he just is off at 5, and he
Right.
wants to do something. And I'd be like, I had 18 glasses of wine during the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
We're
You're like,
gonna be in
I'm
bed
done.
by 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And he'd be like, "Can't we just?"
Yeah.
I had to really learn to pace myself so that he could enjoy.
so
his
that you guys
Sunday
could actually
evening.
hang out.
Yeah, just be asleep.
It's either support or hanging out. You
Yeah.
gotta pick. I
Yeah.
can't, yeah.
And with him in Seattle, and you probably working in LA, how did you guys work that out with the distance?
We just we met that way, so we were just
Okay.
used to it already. Like it just was kind of like we don't live in the same place. So
Okay.
yeah, we were just kind of used to it, I guess.
And you guys would do like whenever he was off, he would come to LA, or you were
Yeah.
off, you would go there.
Yeah, I would during the football season. I would just go there and
Right.
spend as much time as I could. And if I had shows, I got to where I was actually like for the last couple of years, I was like booking shows around sort of that. Like I would mostly book them in the spring and do a little bit
Right.
less in the fall, so we could actually see each other. And then
Right.
sometimes I would book like a show when he had an away game, like in the same city.
Oh, nice.
That worked out nicely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, it was like I'd go to Dallas and I'd do a show there, and he'd happen to have a game on Sunday.
Brilliant.
Worked
Right.
out nicely.
And does he like comedy? Because I imagine football's kind of being a performer, right?
Yeah.
Does he?
He actually really does a lot.
Yeah?
Like he watches every show, and he will like he'll go if he's with me on a weekend, he'll watch every show, and I'm like, you can just go to a bar. And
Yeah.
have this time, like you don't have to sit through this shit anymore. Like you must want it. But he loves it.
I was gonna say because I met John when he was like on not playing football and he was on the road with you and I would be working with you and
Yeah.
stuff, and he is like the best because he's not a comedian but he's not a civilian either. Like he gets comedy so, and you see him like you'll see like a heckler or somebody loud like before the show, he'll be like, she's gonna be a problem. He's like pacing in that like
Really?
He's like a road manager.
like he gets it so much that it's like I was hoping he was going to be here this weekend because we were but he's the best, and he's I think a huge asset, or like he's not going to miss one of your sets because he'll be like, well, you changed the word about what he's just so into it, and it's the coolest thing.
He like coaches.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he is. I mean, he's almost like he'll walk up and he'll be like, oh, telling me how many people are there, or like who's going to be a problem in the front row, and I'm like, oh my god, you've been around this already too much. But he picks it right up. Yeah.
He supports you. That's him drinking wine for 8 glasses of wine.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's his way.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Gets
right.
more involved in the actual process.
Right.
He does the
Right.
same thing though. He'll have like several beers while I'm on stage.
Yeah.
He sits back, but he handles it better. He's a big man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine. I just saw that. I'm just like, oh my god. I feel like because my husband and I will talk about if we're having a girl, but we're like, if we have a boy and he plays football, and my husband's he's a jock guy, so he's like, yeah, he has to play football. I'm like, I could never live through that. I would be so nervous.
Yeah,
all the
injuries and
time.
stuff,
Yeah. I would.
But you're
just
having
be,
a girl.
Yeah, I'm having a girl.
She can play football too.
Technically, she can, but
Yeah.
I don't want her to. Just
Yeah,
for
no.
the because of the danger, not
Yeah.
because of any weird sexist reasons, right?
Yeah.
No, I understand.
What do you say? What are you trying to say?
Yeah.
No. That's funny.
But anyway, we want to thank everybody for doing this episode. I know you guys got a show coming up soon. Where can the people get at you guys?
I'm on Twitter at Sarah Colonna, Sarah with an H, Collonna, and Instagram Sarah Colonna 1 because some bitch got
That hoe.
yeah.
Wonder what her
Yeah.
name was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Sorry. Yeah. I'm Twitter at Mary Radzinski, just like it sounds. RAE, like Apple, DZINSKI, and same for Instagram.
Twitter and Instagram at No Crowley. Then we got the monthly show. If you're in the DC area, Solid State Books, Novel Comedy. Come out to those. Those are fun shows.
Yeah, and we want to thank you guys for listening to Countercurrents. This is going to air, we're not sure when. So some point in the next few weeks when I'm on maternity leave. So I'm not going to promote an exact show that we have next week.
Just promote your baby.
Yeah. I got a baby coming out, so stay tuned for that. But check out ArlingtonDraftHouse.com, ArlingtonDraftHouseDC.com, I think, or what? Arlington Draft House. Just look up Arlington Draft House for all the upcoming shows. DC Draft House for all their upcoming shows are going to be great. And follow us on Countercurrents on Facebook, Countercurrents DC on Instagram. And remember, if you comment or like, you have a chance to win 2 free tickets to whatever show's happening that week. So keep in mind that, especially if you say something nice, you could take someone on a free date night to a really cool show. So that could be great. And I want to thank all our guests for being on our podcast today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
have a great show, everybody.
Thanks.